15 flights a day from South Africa going into Vic Town, going into Harare. Wow, for Livingstone, if you have got one flight, you should thank God. That is not the way it should be. So then we should even change the name from a tourist city, because there's nothing happening in Livingstone. Our tourism has collapsed. We as citizens first, we want to make Livingstone be what it should be. Tourism and industry, they move in tandem. The only reason why Thailand is doing well in tourism is because there's industrial activity happening in Thailand, but there's also things to see, like we have the falls here. It's the same as happening in Thailand. So even here, we need to balance the two. You just can't have the Victoria Falls and you expect people to come here. People also need to come here, they should be buying. Yes, they can buy artifacts. That's not enough. They need to begin buying Zambian products made in Zambia, and that is what CF is all about.
Now, Mr. President, you're talking about building, creating industries and starting to revamp the textiles where we start making those blankets. Now, how do you intend to do that? Because I think from the past we've heard from the presidents coming in. I don't know, maybe it's a strategic campaign for every president that comes in to say we'll make industries, we'll create these, okay, these. But how do you intend to do that? Somebody would wonder, how do you intend to do that? We want to having funds parts, but how do we intend to do that, Mr. President?
Look, you asked a very pertinent question. Every president wants to say when they come in they're going to do industry and then they don't do it. I want to tell you here that the problem that we have had is that people copy manifestos of other political parties. The UPND, for instance, they're in government today. They stayed in the opposition for years. I never heard the UPND talk about industrialization. They only began talking industrialization when we came on the market and we began talking industrialization. They also said, yes, even as industries. It is not coming from the heart. It's not coming from the heart. They have a 10-point plan. In that 10-point plan, there's nothing to do with industrialization. For us in the Citizens First, we are saying industrialization is at the core of our party functions. And you ask me a question, where would you get the money from? Zambia has got a lot of money. You have copper all over this country. You have gold all over this country. You have diamonds all over this country. What we don't have is a leadership. We have emeralds. Nobody even talks about emeralds in this country. We have emeralds which are fetching for very high prices. Nobody's talking about them. There are too many deals and corruption happening, going in private hands, as opposed to Zambian people benefiting themselves. This is why ourselves, we have said the money that is being mismanaged in the mining sector, we'll use it to operationalize industries. Why should we, 61 years after independence, be importing copper cathodes? Copper cathodes should be coming from South Africa. Why should we, 61 years after independence, be importing glass from South Africa? And yet we have a lot of a lot of sand in Mulobezi. We have a lot of sand in Shangombe, a lot of sand in Mongo, because glass comes from sun. All you need to do is to heat that sand, especially the sand from Western Province. Heat that sand to 2000 degrees heat. The sand will begin to vitrify, to begin to melt. Once it melts, your process of making glass starts. We want to do that as Citizens First. We used to make glass in this country, but now we are importing from South Africa. That is coming to an end when Harry Kalaba becomes president. We have to be making our own glass, and we are lucky as a people. We have got 8 countries surrounding Zambia. 8 countries surrounding Zambia. These countries, Angola, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Tanzania, Malawi, and mentioned in DRC Congo, these countries should be buying glass from here. These countries should be buying copper cathodes from here. These countries should be able to be buying shirts and suits from here, because we've got enough cotton farmers growing cotton. We are selling soya chunks all over the shops here in Livingstone. But the soya chunks we are eating are coming from Zimbabwe. We can't even process soya chunks in this country. We grow soya beans, but the soya chunks are being done from Zimbabwe. Something is not right in this country. You grow sunflower, and yet the cooking oil is coming from Namibia, is coming from Botswana. What type of thing is that? We have become a dumping market. And when you are a dumping ground, you can't create employment. The ones who are creating employment are those ones who are dumping in your yard. Zambia should stand up and say no to that. We must take advantage of being a member of COMESA. We must take advantage of being a member of SADC. The last time I checked, when I was a Minister of Foreign Affairs in this country, the trade volumes between Zambia and South Africa was 78 to 12. Now, if you have got that kind of, 78 to 22, if you've got that kind of trade imbalance, it means Zambia is a dumping ground. We have to be deliberate about improving raw materials. How did Dr. Kaunda manage? How did he manage to put up all these industries across the country? It's because he was focused. It's because he knew what he wanted. For me and my colleagues in the Citizens First, we have decided that industrialization is the way to go. We are going to put up blankets industries in this country. We want suits to be made here. There is no way Zambians should be leaving Livingstone to go to Guangzhou to go and import duvets to come and sell here. Why should they do that? We used to make ceramic tiles in this country, in Indola. We had more pottery here. A company that used to make ceramic tiles. It is no longer there. Why should we be importing ceramic tiles from China when we can make ceramic tiles here in Zambia? When we come into government ourselves, these are things that will be done. Our colleagues in government said that they were going to start industries. They can't start industries because they have started wasting their time on settling scores, politics of vengeance. So because of that, they can't focus on those issues. When we come, colleagues from Citizens First in government, there will be no retribution. We don't have time to start following Mr. Akainde Hichilema. Zambians don't want that. What Zambians want is to heal the divide. Zambians want us more united. Zambians want us to be talking from a point of strength, looking out for the strengths of one another, as opposed to saying, when we come, we are going to be in trouble. When we come, we are going to do that. When we come as Citizens First, we want every Zambian, regardless of where you come from, you need to begin enjoying the fruits of being a Zambian. You need to begin knowing that Harry Kalaba will not be only a president for a certain section of the province or so. It will be president of Zambia. And that's why no retribution, no settling scores. I don't have time for that. We have time to build a nation. We have time to take Zambia forward. Because right now, things are not working in this country. Here where we are in Livingstone, you have 20 hours of load shedding. Now, when you have 20 hours of load shedding, and then you have got neighbors like Namibia, who you are selling electricity to, you are giving the Namibians 70 megawatts of power every day. Between 06 and 20 hours, you are selling to Namibia 70 megawatts. Then your own people, in your own country, you say, we'll get the power in the night. What industry is going to be working in the night? Who will be working in the night? That's the problem that we have. Now, we are exporting power to the DRC Congo, 120 megawatts of power. We are exporting power to Malawi, 50 megawatts every day. We are exporting power to Namibia, 71 every day. We are exporting 100 megawatts of power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement. How can Zambia be giving out power when it does not have power itself? That's the problem. We are killing the industries. We have killed saloons here in Livingstone. We have killed barbershops here in Livingstone. Small businesses have suffered, including Radio Zambezi. You are suffering because you have to rely on the genset to run your station. How much money do we have to buy diesel, which is getting expensive every month? Those are the challenges we are going to deal with immediately. Because if I were a president, I would have stopped this rubbish of selling power to other countries. I would have stopped it immediately. They will tell you, no, there are agreements there. Don't be cheated. There might be agreements, but it's unforeseen circumstances.
Mr. President, are those things that you came to realize after leaving? You remember, you were once a minister. I remember you were once in government. Were those things not available, or were those plans not available during the time you were in power? Remember, you served as a minister before. You served as not in one ministerial position, but in ministerial positions, a lot of ministerial positions. Are those things that you've come to realize after leaving government? And if so, are you giving those checks and balances to the current government? Because we need those plans that you're talking about, even in the time, even at the time now.
Yes. Look, that question normally comes up. But Harry, you were in government. But people forget that Harry was not the president. Harry was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. When I was foreign minister, I started building the nuclear plant along the airport road in Lusaka. That nuclear plant with Russia was going to be generating 20,000 megawatts of power every day. And then our consumption capacity of electricity in this country at full capacity is about 2,400 megawatts. That plant was going to be producing 20,000 megawatts. And the rest, my vision was that the rest was going to be sold to the region. Remember, the African Union itself wants to develop what they are calling the Great Inga Dam in the DRC Congo. Why they want to build that dam is to promote industrialization. So for me, I knew that before they build the Great Inga Dam, if we can begin ourselves as a country, generating our own power, 20,000 megawatts of power, we'll be selling power even to the rest of the region in Comesa. What did we do? I went to Russia with the late Musiska. Secretary of the Cabinet. I went to Russia and we signed agreements with the foreign minister of Russia. He's still foreign minister himself. And we began an exchange program. So we are getting young students in the science department, faculty, to go and train in Moscow so that they can come and manage our nuclear plant. They were going to train for nuclear sciences. Our friends have stopped it. Now, if I were president, that project could not stop. If I were president, that project would have continued going on. Because that's my vision. My vision is not local. My vision is international, so that we can have Zambia can begin servicing the international community. We are not doing that. So when someone says, no, but you were in power, that's what people who have failed will always tell you. But you were in power, you didn't do it. Okay, I didn't do it. So you do it now. Because the reason why people elected people to go into power is for them to change the status quo. Now, if you go in power and then things are not changing, just talking the whole time, that's not the way we should do our politics. I am saying things can be done better. I have never been president. I am aspiring to become president. And I know that our constitution is crafted in such a way that most of the power is vested in the president. Here in Livingstone, you have got your MP. There are things your MP can do and things he cannot do.
But the MP can advise the president.
The MP can advise the president, and I'm sure you've used the correct term, Ngandi. He can advise, right? An advice can be taken or it can be rejected. You know, at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president. So you can only advise. But if your advice is not taken, what do you do? And remember me, I resigned from government to demonstrate my seriousness with governance. When I saw things were not going the way they should have gone, I said, okay, let me just stop here. I don't want to be part of the collective. I think this is the way we should have gone. We're not going this way. Let me leave you at that. So, that's how leadership goes.
All right, now let's look at the issue at hand where a lot of Zambians they are struggling to have a bag of money.
One is to manage energy, because energy is at the epicenter of everything that you do. If you don't manage the cost of your diesel, the cost of your petrol, the cost of your electricity, it will be difficult to do business, because everything is hinging on these things. So for us as citizens first, we have seen a problem in the way the energy sector is being managed. And what we have said is that, look, here in Southern Province where we are, the rains now are not raining here. You've got scarcity of rains. I'm coming from Copper Belt, as you said earlier on. It is raining heavily. The other week I was in Northern Province. It is raining heavily. It is raining heavily in Central Province. If we are going to do hydropower stations going in future, the citizens faced is of the view that hydropower stations will be created in the Northern Circuit, because that's where the rains are. Here in Southern Province, because now we have got a lot of sun, let us now begin creating solar farms here in Southern Province, because we can harvest a lot of sun because of the heat around, and then there where the rains are going, let's harvest a lot of water and do the hydropower generation. But also, we need to make sure that we bring up, like our colleagues in Zimbabwe, they have invested heavily in thermal, thermal energy. We need to go that route as well. We have got coal also being, Mamba collieries. Mamba collieries need to be expanded so that it can produce more megawatts as compared to what it is producing right now. So there has to be a diversification mix in terms of the energy there. Right now, we are solely depending on hydropower. I heard the other day, the president was saying that we needed to begin going solar, because he says for him, he doesn't even use hydropower. He uses solar. But how many Zambians today can afford solar? How many can afford solar? That tells you that we have a problem with our leaders in government. There is a disconnect between what is going on and what they're telling us. Because they can afford solar, they think even you here, you can afford solar. You go to Dambwa North, go to Dambwa South, you go to Maramba there. How many people in their homes right now are on solar? If there are 5, then they are lucky. The rest of them are depending on hydropower. Now, if we are going to make a difference and industrialize, we need to diversify and invest in that. How do we bring the cost of living down? It means if we diversify, first of all, we invest heavily in the energy sector, the amount of money we'll be spending, or the amount of man hours we are losing, will be saved. That is one. Secondly, you have the issue of fuel being increased every day, every month. What you need there is to recapitalize Indian refinery. We have advised this government time and again that what is required now is to recapitalize Indian refinery so that Indian becomes a proper refinery. All that government needed to do from 4 years ago that they came into government was to buy the hydrocarbon cracker. If they bought the hydrocarbon cracker at Indian would be a refinery. We would store fuel for a longer time. But now, we can't store fuel for a longer time. It means we are buying fuel at the actual market price every time. But if we had stored it for some time, even if there was a problem in Ukraine, or there was a problem in Russia, because we have already our fuel secured, the price would be the same as compared to what it is now. Every month you are increasing. Every month you are increasing. This is the first time it is happening. Why don't we want to use the local resources that we have? That is one. Secondly, you also need to begin realizing that we are importing fertilizer from outside Zambia. Saudi Arabia is giving us fertilizer. Russia is giving us fertilizer. We need, as citizens, to begin creating our own industrial plants for fertilizer in this country. Dr. Kaunda tried hard. He created nitrogen chemicals of Zambia while he was doing fertilizer, and then from there he used to get a byproduct of those explosives which he used to use at Kafironda. We need to begin doing that. In CF, we are saying we want to begin opening ourselves up to begin creating fertilizer plants in every province. You need that because Zambia's population now has gone beyond 20 million. There's no way we can be waiting for fertilizer from Russia. It puts the cost of inputs to be very high. For them to come down, we produce them here locally. It means the farmers will grow their maize cheaply and they'll pass on the benefits to us, the consumers. Without that, the price will continue going high. But government also can subsidize. There is nothing wrong with subsidizing the food for people. Nothing wrong.
Do you think, as a CF, you are doing the most to give the checks and balances the current government to give those solutions you are giving up, Mr. President, just now?
Right now, as I'm talking, We are giving solutions here as we're talking. If it's a listening government, they should be able to listen what we are saying. We are telling them go and buy hydrocarbon cracker for India. We are telling them go and begin making fertilizer plants across the country. We are telling them put up a company like Memago to manage your mining company so that the financial slippages in the mining sector should slow down. So that the money we are losing in the mining sector can go and begin helping our people. You use that money to subsidize their maize, to subsidize their food. You can do that. Right now we are subsidizing our health. We can do that, subsidizing our food. But this government doesn't have the money to do that. They don't have the money. So what they need to do is they open up the issue of indeni so that fuel is stored for some time, so that we have the capacity for 3 months without importing fuel from outside. Then the price of fuel will remain at least stable for quite a period of time, 90 days. Zambians won't be looking at new prices. But all these things our colleagues have told them. But because they are more interested in business rather than helping people, they can't go that route. Because if you are a business person and they're giving you solutions that will help the people, you'll not be interested.
All right, today we are talking about the high levels of unemployment. Of course, it's not just Zambia, it's everywhere we go, high levels of unemployment. When you come into power as CF, how do you intend to bring the employment levels, or maybe how do you intend to employ the young youth out there who has just completed or graduated from his college or maybe university, and yet has been in the society for over 5 years, Mr. President? How do we intend to actually raise above the bar the issue of employment
in its raw form? And right from Kaoma, you begin value adding the tobacco which they are growing. Instead of sending those leaves to Namibia or Malawi, we begin making cigarettes right in Kaoma. Employment to be created. What is required is that here in Livingstone, every year in and year out, you have very ripe mangoes, sweet mangoes, which go to West. When are you going to start making mango juice from those mangoes that are going to West? If you start making mango juices from those mangoes, you create employment. I was telling you about making glass. If we start in Mulobezi or in Mongu itself, Sesheke, we start making glass using the very good sand that they have, it means we will have created employment instead of us getting glass from South Africa. Why are we importing cooking oil in this country when we are growing sunflower all over Zambia? The moment we stop importing cooking oil and we raise the excise duty on cooking oil coming from outside Zambia, so that we can promote our own cooking oil here in Zambia, we are going to create employment. There is no magic to it. The only magic which is there is for us to value add. Once we value add, we are going to create employment. You are hearing them saying they have employed teachers, they have employed nurses. Those are government jobs. Those are government jobs, and the monies which those people are making, it's coming from the taxes, because government has only got 2 ways of raising revenue. Government has only got 2 ways of raising money. One, it is by taxing its citizens. 2, it is by borrowing from the International Monetary Fund or from private markets or commercial banks. That is the second way that government raises money. So when you see government employing teachers, when you see government employing nurses, just know that they are going to get taxes from you. That is why now this government has reduced taxes from the ones who are owning mines. You know that. They have reduced the mineral tax from 6%, they have gone to 3%. That reduction means government is not getting as much revenue from the mining sector as they were getting before. When I become president, we are going to revisit that reduction, because their intention of reducing was that they will attract more investors in the mining sector? Why is it that now they are clocking 4 years in government? They have not yet found an investor to mine our gold in Kasenseli. Why is it that they have gone back to Vendata to run Konkwakwa mines? These are issues telling you that they were not ready for government. They told us they had a list of investors who are ready to come into the country. They didn't have that list. We are serious when we say we are going to do this. Just when the very day of the inauguration, the pronouncements which will be made. We don't want to continue exporting Mukula in its raw form. No ways. We can't be taking logs to China. Today we are talking about Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a shining example today because they have managed to pay off their monies, the loans they had, using their local resources. It's just a question of leadership. When you have copper, when you have gold, when you have got emeralds, why would you want to go and borrow money from the International Monetary Fund and they are giving you in tranches of $400 million, $400 million, when you can raise that money from Kasenseli mines, when you can raise that money from Mpika where they have discovered gold? But because there's lack of seriousness and cohesion in the way these things are being done, Zambia is still owing over $20 billion in terms of debt. That will come to an end when we take over government, because things will be done the way they should have been done. I have the experience. I know where to start from. And so, this country has to go back on the right path of economic emancipation.
Alright, in case just tuned in, you are listening to Zambezi FM Radio 94.1 FM. In the studios, we are having the Citizens Affairs, the CFR President, that's Mr. Harry Kalaba, who is in the studios this afternoon in Livingston. As we discuss the roadmap of the Citizens Affairs and just to hear what they have as Citizens Affairs for the citizens of Zambia. During it's only when a party is in opposition, you promise good things to people, but once elected, you forget about the people of Zambia.
Again, my brother, it's because of leadership. Some of us have demonstrated in the past that we don't take leadership for granted. That is why one can resign as foreign minister when one doesn't agree. That's how serious some of us are with these things. I'm not saying things that will not happen on this radio. I'm saying things that the citizens first is able to do. So others will speak because they want to play politics. But today we have got hospitals without medicines. Today as you go in hospitals, the doctors will write you prescriptions that you go and buy medicines from chemists and pharmacies. How can you go and buy those things when you don't even have a job? That is what the problem is. That kind of thing has to come to an end. We need to stock our hospitals. We need to make sure that the X-ray machines in our hospitals are enough. We need to make sure that these machines that these people use who have got renal failure, those machines must be done, and there must be enough in Livingston here. There must be enough even in Zimba. There must be enough even in Kalomo. There is no reason why somebody of government not placing its emphasis on that. We are spending money which we should not be spending. We have got the money which we are not collecting. We have allowed money to go and checked. We're even paying money. Is it last time we paid money to China and then we said, oh, this one is very different, taking over from government. UPND me, I knew. Even just a year before, 4 months before, I knew they were not ready to take over government because they didn't understand how government operates. If you don't understand how something operates, you speak from outside. But if you understand, remember, I was a civil servant for 10 years. I worked as a civil servant from executive officer, rising order. I told you, when we come plant, just start running. Secondly, the first thing I would do after swearing in is to fly into Namibia. I go and tell them, no more exporting of power. Forgive us. We can't be exporting power to you because our own people in Livingstone deserve power. And we are calling ourselves a tourist capital. No, we are a tourist capital. What type of a tourist capital are we if we can't even have electricity? 20 hours of load shedding, and you're saying you're a tourist capital. Look at the number of flights that have dropped in Livingstone. Before, we used to have a lot of flights coming in here. Now, if that airport has 2 flights a day, then we are lucky. That is not good for our economy. That is very bad for our economy. That is why we are going to change the paradigm shift. There will be a paradigm shift, a complete shift. You even know yourself to say, okay, now people who know how things should go have come. You can't have people finishing colleges, people finishing universities, and they can't find jobs because you have continued to import cooking oil. Mr. Manawasa in 2006, remember, there was a problem of bread. The wheat growers were complaining in this country that the wheat which was coming from outside Zambia was cheaper than them growing the wheat here. So what Manawasa did was he just raised excess duty for the wheat which was coming into Zambia. So he gave leverage to our farmers here. That's how you protect your farmers. We are growing tobacco, but cigarettes are being made in Namibia. We are growing sunflower, but cooking oil is being made in Tanzania. Forget it. When we come into government, we begin making cooking oil here. We begin making soya chunks here. When we come into government, we begin making copper cathodes here. When we come into government, we will not allow Mukula tree to go into China as a log. No, to go in all those areas along the line of rail. They'll get employed. Because that's what they need. That's what they need. Everything is outside us. Everything is outside us. When will Zambians do these things? When?
Right, Mr. President, one thing I know for sure is that a lot of Zambians obviously have lost hope of saying, I think I'll never vote again. What assurance are you giving an ordinary Zambian to say, I think you are the right person to take over this country? What assurance are you giving my village people out there to say, vote for me? If when I take over the power, I'll change this country. What assurance should my younger brother and sister out there have in order for you to have that assurance, for them to have that assurance that this is the right person that we need as Zambia?
I want to tell you that they should have confidence in the fact that when Harry Kalaba becomes president, he understands how government operates. They must have confidence that when I come going through, we have to come to an end. They must stress my history. I'm a serious person. I don't say third here, is something that is going to happen. Because I know how it will happen. I know how to go about it. Look, Gift, why should we be importing sacks? Sacks for maize. Those sacks you see where you are putting meal. We are importing. Those sacks you see where they are putting maize. We are importing. How can we be importing that? 61 years since our independence, and we have leaders. What we have now, leaders don't even care about that. They know that in the last 4 years they have done nothing, and because they have done nothing, here in Southern Province, the levels of unemployment, the way it has gone up, here in Southern Province, despicable.
One would wonder again, Mr. President, to say, how ready are you to take over this government when you don't even have a member of parliament representing you in parliament, not even a mayor, and not even somebody from your Bahati, where you served as an MP? One would wonder, say, how ready are you? Maybe we'll give you time 2031 to become president.
No, but we have our mayor. Where's our mayor? I saw our mayor here.
She's just stepped outside.
We have our mayor here. She's standing, this lady. She's going to stand as mayor, and she's going to win as mayor. We have the person standing there as member of parliament. The one standing as MP, Mr. Mandela, is here. We have councillors. There's a councillors in Livingston all over. In 1990, when the MMD was formed, MMD did not have any councillor. MMD did not have any MP. They didn't have any mayor. But the MMD managed to win the whole of Copper Belt. They managed to win Lusaka, Luapula, Northern, Buchinga, and all these provinces. And the UNIP who had all the seats, they lost. It's not a question of you don't have this, therefore you cannot be. No. The ones who decide whether you should have an MP, you should have a councillor, it's the people like yourselves. It's you who decide who should be councillor, who should be MP, who should be what. It is you who decides. So, we are going to have MPs. We are going to have councillors. We are going to have mayors. That's not a problem. Those people will come. What we are doing is to convince the people out there to work with the citizens first. Once the people are agree, it is people that change governments. Even Mr. Sata, when he started, he didn't have any councillor or mayor, but he became president. So it's not a question of saying those were produced by Harry Kalaba. Now, we are going to have an election coming up next year. Watch the space. Watch the space. And people keep saying, we don't have opposition in this country. I think you've heard that. Or the opposition is very weak. May I tell them, your biggest opposition is the load shedding that you have here in Livingston. Forget about Harikala. The people will kick you out of office because of the load shedding which is high in this country. The people will kick them out of office because of the price of milling. The people will kick them out of office because tourism here in Livingston has died. They'll be kicked out of office because the levels of unemployment here in Livingston, in Southern Province, is too high. So the people will say, we need somebody who can run with us, somebody who does not just want to do business for the sake of doing business. We want somebody who will have the welfare of the people at heart. And that is Harikala. So watch the space.
All right, in case we can accommodate one or two callers this afternoon as we are talking to the President, Citizens Affairs, the President, Mr. Hari Kalaba, who is with us in the studios on the number 0979 34 43 73, 0979 34 43 73. We can accommodate one or two callers looking at the time, which is flying right here in the studios, 0979 34 4373. Mr. Hari Kalaba, the President of Citizens Affairs, the party will be more than glad to respond to your queries. In case of those questions, you have those queries, the President will be more than glad to respond to your queries. All right, we have a secretariat in Livingston, Mr. President. In case somebody wants to come and join.
Where is District Chairman? Because if I say, you say I'm just making up stories. First of all, you are seated here. You should introduce yourself.
Yeah.
So that they know that Hari Kalaba is not alone in Southern Province. Then you give chance to District Chairman, Goswell's Chairman, to come and introduce themselves and give their numbers.
Maybe as we are waiting for those callers, we can quickly introduce ourselves. Sir, tell us your name and where you are residing, sir.
Okay, my name is Nelson Manchis, Deputy National Chairperson for Mobilization, the Kalaba. So, I'm going to go to my show first as a Mobilization Chairperson. My Zambians, especially when we Livingstone, nabamba kuti leza wanda kumupa president womwezere bushoma mazambiani mu southern province baba jobwe kuti leza wandu wapa president Dr. Kalaba. The good example nja kuti bagali ba minister mboye mbamba kale bagali zaina kambo kama province kwatani wakagisi mu PF. So meaning kumancho wamba mu radio station bandu bonse bateni aba bashoma mwamba kuti hena mucho hena bali kugisima office
muri bingi tata muri bingi noti kuchoma
watu jana Moses Mkaribichoma. First time about him,
all right, 0979 34 43 73 0979 34 43 73 is the number you can come through. And just make sure that as you call in, just the volume on the radio side so that we can get you loud and clear. We asked the question, do we have offices, a secretariat in Livingstone? Maybe Mr. Kalaba is just on his own coming here to with the district chair. Right. Thank you so very much. And you tell us your position in the CF party.
I'm the district chair. At the same time, I'm the expiring cabinet MP.
Right, aspiring candidate MP for Citizens Face the party. Thank you so very much, Mr. Wandila, for coming through. Right, now the number to come through is 0979. Remember, we don't have time. We only have a few minutes to be here in the studios. All right. Okay, there's another. Okay, I seem to have a message here. The message here is saying. The message is saying, should they wait for election for them to be popular, or they have people on the group, and what are they doing as a party? The president to answer that. Yes, tell us your name and your position.
Yeah, Masnanga in the new committee.
Okay, can you hold on to your thoughts? We seem to have a caller right here. Hello, live on radio. Hello, live on radio. Zambezi FM radio, you are live on radio. We have the president, Mr. Kalaba, who is coming from Citizens First Party. Achola kumalota, kama ndivyo achola. Ngati wana maplans ya bwanje? Does Mr. President have the plans to join Tonse Alliance? All right, okay. Thank you so very much, Bosa, for coming through.
Okay.
All right, thank you so very much. Here, tata ngamatwambira kumwe kwamba here ngamazwitira.
Yeah, so my name is Neutral meeting as constituency chairman. Yeah, as my president said to say, especially to us, is a vana wangono. Inengali mwana, ngali watanzi, ngali na mpamvu. So that is why it calls the Citizens First. President was Citizens First. I nankala mu State House much. Because look, wa president wa mene wali kolera. Wakala kunyumba kwa meaning, si wa